Let's talk about some more serious news of the week. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper is out, fired via tweet. Although that should seem weird, but it's kind of not anymore, is it? Like being fired through a tweet, almost the new normal. What does this mean? Esper's out right at the tail end of this election. There's a lot of speculation of what this could mean. What's your analysis on this, Mr. Murphy?
Well, I'm not privy to all the backroom chicanery in the smoke-filled rooms, but I think that is probably a long time coming. There are some pretty big schisms between Mark Esper and the Trump administration. One of the big ones being, the protests in Washington, D.C., where President Trump wanted to activate the 82nd Airborne and send them in to fight protesters. Mark Esper and General Milley both dragging their feet on that as much as they could. So that definitely creates a rift. But hey, I mean, President Trump ends up having a rift with everyone around him sooner or later, it seems. So, I mean, it is what it is. And probably Esper wanted off the crazy train as well. So I doubt he's shedding too many tears at that point. But otherwise, I mean, I would just interpret it as, the Trump administration trying to shake things up. It's Trump's chaos as a leadership style approach. And it also grabs some headlines in the midst of all the other electoral chaos that's been going on the last few days.
A lot of speculation about this firing. What does this mean? I mean, we're coming into I'm going to say we have elected a new president. I think that the country has come to terms with that. I know there are still some legal battles. I know that there's potential Supreme Court issues, but for now, I believe Joe Biden is the president-elect, or at least I think we're not there yet. He's not officially the president-elect, is he? Is he? Have we called? Is this like done and said? Because I'm not sure.
I don't want to put that stake in the ground. I feel like you're setting me up right now, Rod. He's announced as the president-elect. I think it's a done deal.
All right, so
they're still waiting on some states to certify. I know
that's what I thought. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say that there's a very good chance he is the president-elect or will be the official ominous dominus president-elect, and he will take office come January and all this wonderful things. But is it normal or is it a prudent choice to fire your Secretary of Defense right before these elections? Now, a New York Times, I want to say it was the New York Times article just came out talking about some of the deeper issues that are involved in this, that, this actually places our country in a bit of a state of chaos, that perhaps this is one of those situations where the president wants to do something on the way out that he thinks the Secretary of Defense would not be on board with. And he's bringing on, I think it's a former Fifth Group guy, he's former Special Forces guy from the counterintelligence world. I'm not sure.
He definitely had some interesting assignments. I think he did a stint at Solik also. He was in Afghanistan early on in the war. Definitely has an interesting background.
But I mean, is this in Europe? You've seen a lot of. You're very smart about the world of politics and then the world of international affairs. How does firing the Secretary of Defense affect this country, where it's at in this election process as we transition to a potential new president?
I mean, I don't know that it necessarily affects the election process. It just introduces another layer of chaos into what has already been a very chaotic 4 or 5 years in the federal government. It's yet another shakeup, another shift in personnel. And what's crazy about it is we're so late in the game now. So Esper's out, Chris Miller is in. He's only going to be acting Secretary of Defense for a couple months until Joe Biden is inaugurated. And then presumably he will put in whoever his Secretary of Defense is going to be. I mean, he's going to have his own person in his mind, his own political appointee who is going to be part of his team that he's going to want to bring in. And I have no idea who that person is. But my point is, this guy is only going to be Secretary of Defense for a couple months, and then President-elect Biden is going to install his person, his appointee. So it's almost like what's the point? What are we doing here? And I think, again, it's just chaos as a leadership style, right?
Chaos is correct. We are definitely, everything's kind of in flux, and it just seems like every news story adds to a narrative that it's all going to fall apart. Like I feel like something is building, and I'm trying to stay objective about this tension.
That's because you've been primed for it, Rod. We all have. And if you look at these breathless articles, look, I know some people aren't going to like me, as a journalist, taking shots at the media and about journalism and the press. The New Yorker publishing stuff about how Trump is going to launch a coup. There was another article where a couple former military officers were talking about how the military needs to launch like a counter coup against the president. Like the press has like amped everyone up and like psychologically prepared them. Something really bad is about to happen. While simultaneously you have the sort of conspiracy theory left and conspiracy theory right. On the left, they believe something really good is going to happen, that all of these Trump administration people are going to be arrested and they're going to go to jail. But then on the right-wing side, you have something really good is going to happen. The storm is coming. All of these deep state communists or Democrats or whoever they are, they're all going to be arrested and thrown in jail. And like these very like messianic visions that are floated out on, they propagate across social media and across the mainstream press. I mean, these conspiracy theories become mainstream ideas in the mainstream media as well. So, I mean, I think that's why the entire country feels the way you do, Rod, that like something's going to happen here. What is it? But we're all fearful of it, whatever it is.